Testing, testing. Okay. Good morning, judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chey Sotharoth, and the topic that I am going to speak to all of you today is this house allows prisoners to choose death over life sentence. But to begin with, what is life sentence? Life sentence is the act of putting the culprit into jail from the moment that the judge already declared that the person shall go to jail until the time that he or she dies. And first, I would like to tell that I disagree with this statement based on three grounds. The first point is that there is a purpose behind distinguishing between prosecute a person or sending those person to jail. And the second one is that life is why you were born regardless of any circumstances. And the last reason is that there might be a chance for that person to get out of jail. Now, allow me to elaborate on the first main idea, is the purpose of law. So what is the purpose of law that distinguishes between sending a person to death or sending a person to a life sentence? When the judge and the jury decided to send a person to jail for the rest of their life, it is because that they have faith in that culprit. They believe that by sending those persons to stay in jail for the rest of their life, just before they die, they might be able to learn something. They might have time in jail to rethink about what they have done wrong, and they might turn to be a good citizen, even if they are in jail, because the value of human remains at any time, regardless of wherever you are, regardless of whether your freedom is being restrained. And I think that the government is the mother and the father of all citizens. He or she shall not allow any children to die at all, even if they think that this is the end of their life, but this is not. Why? Because I will elaborate on my second reason is related to this value of life. Life is meaningful regardless of any circumstances. Even if it means that your freedom is being restrained, even if it means that you can't get to meet your relatives only once a year. Can you imagine in the time that the bomb dropped in Cambodia, Syria, and in Iraq, people are running away, people are striving for their life. Look at the child in Africa, they are dying of malnutrition, they are dying without food, but they are still trying to survive. And why would we allow this human being who are just being sentenced to jail to die like this? Life is why you were born. If the person do not understand the value of life, we should think about the government should think about their relatives that are waiting to see them once per year or twice per year. I can imagine myself, if one of my family were to get a life sentence, I'd rather visit him once or twice per year. I'd rather go to the prison and see the person face to face rather than visit his grave every year and talking to a stone that cannot respond back to me. Well, and the last argument is that there is a chance of going out. Why would I say that there is a chance of going out? Of course, when it comes to law, when it comes to the sentence, nothing is accurate. Not all evidence is accurate. Sometimes it might take up to 40 years or 30 years or 50 years for the person to recycle the crime, to have a look at it again, and to distinguish and to identify those who really commit the culprit act. So there is definitely a chance for a person, even if it's a long time, but it is worth waiting for, because life is worth living. Because we are born to live, not born just to die. And another point that I would like to raise, and another point related to the third argument is about the chances of going out as well. But if you are in the prison, but you are doing a good act, you have other prison, and you are trying to gain, and you are trying to do the good thing, and you learn a lot, and you really prove the people in there that, okay, even if it's 20 years or 30 years, but I've changed myself. I've decided to be a good citizen. I want to contribute to my country and I want to change myself. I believe that there is a chance that those culprits might be allowed to come out of jail and restart their life. And again, even if it is a little bit late, but it is still life. They still have time to change. Even if you are 80 years old, but you still have time to reunite with your family and show them that you can be a good citizen, you are a good grandma that can have educated your great-grandson and your family not to avoid the things that you have done. So, all in all, I believe that life is meaningful regardless of any circumstances. And I urge all of you to stand with me, to walk with me, and to match with me, to not allow this policy to be practiced, to give the show of country that they still have value to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sotharoth, for your presentation. Now I would like to give the floor to our judges to ask the questions.
I don't think it's common for a judge or a jury to sentence an individual to life in prison unless that person has done something very egregious. The cost of incarceration has become quite expensive. Whose burden should that be? If they've done something so terrible to warrant a life sentence, why should I have to pay for it?
Thank you for your question. Of course, it might be a burden to keep a person in jail for the rest of their life. You have to pay for the expenses, and not to mention about certain trainings that some prisons might provide. But I think that in the sense of humanity, even if a person does something wrong, we have to have the feeling of benevolence, the feeling of forgiveness. An eye for an eye society is not a society that we should live in, but a society that people can try to forgive each other. It's a society that we should honor and we should continue to preserve. And even if that it means that a little contribution for each of us, but it is for who? For the humanity, because we show them the courage to change themselves. We show them that even if they are in jail and they committed something wrong, we show them that I believe that one day you can change and you can be a better person, a good person like us outside the jail.
Oh, hi Rob. So you talked about restoring faith in that person, in restoring faith in the goodness of that person who just committed a crime. But spending time in prison doesn't really give you that opportunity. You live in horrible conditions. You don't have enough food to eat. You don't even have a good place to sleep in. So it's like living a life in hell. So why would you not give them the opportunity to die? Because they might actually want to die rather than spend, a few weeks in hell.
Thank you. Regarding to this question, I would like to turn the judges and audience interest into Pol Pot region. Imagine in that region, did we even have enough to eat? I would point to my mother, and she knows that. She knows in her heart she did not have enough to eat. And every day, she lived in fear of getting persecuted any time from the Pol Pot soldier. But those people, they are still striving to live. Even though they know that tomorrow they might die, but they want to live. And I think that just because spending a day, a week, or even almost a life in jail with not enough food to eat and not a good place to sleep, people should still try to live because life is meaningful regardless of horrible conditions you are in. Don't give up on hope, don't give up on life. Thank you.